Deep within the lush woods of Vilas County, Wisconsin, there are two tall chimneys rising up and holding their place in time, refusing to crumble. Remnants of an old, beautiful structure are hidden within the tall blades of grass and weeds, which have taken over and enveloped the ruins of this once grand mansion, almost keeping what's left hidden from the world. There just may be a reason for the elements shrouding the solid stone structures. Maybe it's due to the reported evil that could still lurk there even today. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. This land was originally settled in the turn of the century and included a fishing lodge and 4 cabins overlooking the sparkling West Bay Lake near Land O'Lakes, Wisconsin. The lodge was purchased in 1916 by Robert Patterson Lamont, who is the United States Secretary of Commerce. He set plans to construct a summer retreat mansion for his family, which he called Lilac Hills. In later years, the name of the place was called Summerwind. There were 4 fireplaces and also modern conveniences such as indoor plumbing, steam heat, and electricity. The renovations took about 2 years to complete, and when it was finished, there stood a grand, unique mansion with a scenic view of the lake nearby. What seemed like heaven to the Lamonts became their personal hell. With such a large home, the Lamonts acquired maids and a servant staff. The maids would report to Mr. Lamont of strange occurrences, insisting the mansion was haunted. He did not believe them. Years passed, and life went on as usual for the family, until one night which made Robert Lamont a believer. He was in the kitchen with his wife, having dessert, when he encountered a terrifying male entity that shook the door, which led to the basement wide open. In his terror, he grabbed his gun and proceeded to fire 2 shots into the door, trying to defend his family. But by the time he pulled the gun and aimed, the spirit entity pulled the door closed. His family fled the home, never to return. It is not certain whether Summerwind Mansion was sold upon Lamont's death or before. However, in the 1940s, the Kiefer family purchased it, but never lived in the home on a regular basis. After Mr. Kiefer's death, his widow divided and sold the property. For some reason, 5 different people over time had purchased the lot with the mansion on it, but all suffered from financial difficulty, and the purchase of the property did not go through. There were no reported paranormal incidents over the course of this time, but several individuals spoke of feeling uneasy, even though it was unoccupied at this point. In the 1970s, the house was purchased by Arnold and Ginger Hinshaw. They, with their children, moved in, eager to fix it up and make it their own. Their dreams would soon take a terrifying turn. Right from the beginning, peculiar events started happening, including flickering shadows and hearing soft voices that could not be identified. On a few occasions, the family was relaxing together and through the French doors saw a glowing woman in white dancing and swirling around. Many electrical problems also occurred, along with feelings of general uneasiness and distress. There is a story of the Hinshaws finding a male corpse with black hair still attached to its skull, hidden in a crawl space. However, there was never any proof of this happening, as the family never reported the macabre finding. After only 6 months of living at the mansion, Arnold began playing the organ in their home, which he often enjoyed. However, his usual music took on a dark, ominous sound, and he would often play into the late hours, keeping the family awake and terrified of his mental state. He suffered a nervous breakdown, and Ginger attempted suicide. Arnold went for treatment, and Ginger went to stay with her parents. the home again was handed over to Mrs. Kiefer, the former owner. Some years later, Ginger's father, Raymond Bober, announced to his family he was going to purchase the abandoned mansion and turn it into a restaurant with the help of his wife, Marie, and son, Carl. Ginger was absolutely horrified and pleaded with him not to go even visit the house. Many of the same unexplained phenomena occurred again, as it did with the past owners. Summerwind Mansion was coming to life again and taking control of everything and everyone around it. In 1979, Raymond and his family stopped with plans to renovate the old mansion due to several supernatural events that they could no longer avoid. Throughout his experiences, Raymond documented everything that was happening and published them in 1979 under the name Wolfgang von Bober. After spending so many hours at the former mansion, Bober proclaimed he knew the identity of the spirit who was haunting the home. The name given to him was Jonathan Carver. Jonathan Carver was a British explorer who in the late 1700s traveled to northern Wisconsin and made deeds with the Native Americans. Bober exclaimed Carver was haunting the home, looking for an old deed which was placed in a box and sealed in the foundation of Summerwind. Mr. Bober communicated with Carver and thought he was chosen to help this long-ago explorer find his deed, which he had been trying to find in vain for so long, even centuries after his own death. Later, it was reported that Carver actually sent the deed to his wife overseas, and it was kept within the family. To this day, it is reported the deed is lost, most likely in England. The Carver effect was a result of these incidents and is still in print and popular today. It spoke of Jonathan Carver's resentment of anyone who dared move into this house. That is, until his deed was found and placed properly back into his hands. Until then, no one would ever live at this picturesque place in peace, and no one would ever have the chance to live there again. The infamous deed would not be found either. The house remained abandoned up into the 1980s and was in desperate need of repair. On Father's Day of 1988, the house was allegedly struck by lightning and burned to the ground. Even though the once majestic mansion was surrounded by tall, dense woods, the lightning found its way to the decrepit house. Perhaps it was nature's way of destroying all that was once evil and bearing the mysterious secrets and terrifying events generations of families went through. Now perhaps the families who dwelled within this haunted home will have peace and tranquility, and will never again fear the wrath of whatever lurked inside of Summerwind Mansion. There could be another explanation regarding activity here. In the era Jonathan Carver was in Wisconsin, Native Americans were scattered all over the state. Bloody wars between tribes were fought, possibly right on or near the location of the old mansion. Perhaps there were burial grounds beneath the broken bricks and rock. There has never been any insight or event reported to have started the supernatural activity at the house. If there is evil here, it may be hundreds of years old and forgotten. What stands today are those two strong chimneys and detailed foundation, which Robert Lamont took so much pride in. Even though the elements and vandals have taken over the area, there is still a sense of unfinished business. Something lingers in the air that cannot be explained. Eerie, yet carries the weight of sadness. Whether it is the odd events which occurred, or the mysterious deed said to have been buried in the foundation, we'll never know. These are the secrets of Summerwind, never ending. It is peculiar that nothing was ever done with the property, even simply cleaning up the rubble. Looking at it is unnerving. Because of the state it is in, it is untouched in so many ways, even though it has been destroyed and in ruins. Nature has taken back the grounds and reversed it back to the way it used to be. The elements have its strange way of resolving things and protecting as well. Is it nature or spirits who protect this land? There have been several reports from individuals who have visited this location and have taken with them a souvenir, such as a brick from the foundation. When they return home with it, it is almost as if the person is cursed. Bad things begin to happen. A warning. If you wish to visit, first be aware it is private property, and second, it wouldn't be wise to take anything from the property if you are feeling a bit superstitious. The former mansion is so tucked away in the woods, it is very hard to locate. It is hidden, and for a reason, in my opinion. Is it because of its evil reputation? Or simply the years going by and nature taking its unrelenting course? There is one thing for sure that can be said about the Summerwind site. It is a mystery that will last till the end of time, and some mysteries are meant to remain dormant for reasons we cannot begin to fathom. Unless, that is, you think to solve the unsolvable. Good luck, and tread with care.